What is up, you guys? It's your girl Angel Sky, and today we have a very important video I need to do, a very important life update I need to do. So without further ado, let's just get straight into the video. So I promised myself, number one, that I would get through this video hopefully without crying, but I'm gonna do my best. I can't make any promises. I've done this video 3 or 4 times before this and it hasn't worked, so we're just gonna have to see what happens. Okay, I am very emotional. It is a very emotional life update, so please bear with me. We had a very big appointment yesterday for my son Anthony, and we were at the doctor's from our appointment was at 10, and I don't think we got out of there until about 3 o'clock. My poor husband didn't sleep for 24 hours straight because he was with the kids all morning and then went to work all night. So he's exhausted. And so it was a really big appointment for us. They were testing my son to see, you know, what's going on with him and what's wrong with him. So it was physically exhausting, obviously not just for me, but more for him, because he did so much tests. Like it was like 3 or 4 different doctors that came in and did different tests on him. So he was exhausted. We were starving because we didn't eat anything until we got out of the appointment at like 3 something. So we pretty much went to the appointment, and it was to see if my son is on the spectrum and where on the spectrum he is. So I tried to vlog it, and unfortunately it was just like I couldn't even, like, I don't even know how to explain it, but if you've ever been waiting for something so long in your life and you finally found out, it's not like, it's good to get your reaction, but your reaction isn't going to be understandable to the people around you. They're just going to look at you like you're crazy. I wasn't speaking correctly. I was so emotional. I was crying. Then I was like smiling because it was happy tears, but at the same time it was emotional. I was pretty much just rambling on because I didn't even know what to say, and I was thinking so much in my head. So we went to the doctors, and it turns out that my son is not autistic. I know a couple times on my channel in my previous videos I said that he was autistic because me and his doctors and his school have always been under the assumption that he was somewhere on the spectrum. He is nowhere on the spectrum. He is not autistic. He's not on the high end. He's not on the low end. He's just not on the spectrum. So when I said that in my videos, I didn't know what I was talking about, apparently, because he is not on the spectrum. He's not autistic. He actually has ADHD. So that really came as a really big surprise to me because, like I said, his whole life we've always thought that he was autistic. He was somewhere on the spectrum, and it's been such a long time coming to get this appointment and to get some answers and to see what's wrong with him and how I can help him. So for me to get these answers is just like incredible. So when she told me that he isn't on the spectrum, I kind of, it's not that I didn't believe her, but when you think something about your kid and then all of a sudden somebody tells you something completely different, it's hard to digest, I guess. It's hard to swallow. You're like, well, what do you mean he's not autistic? Like, then what's going on? Like, what's happening with him? So she pretty much told me that anytime a parent comes in with their child, she asks them the first question, one question. And that one question is, do you think your child loves you? Any child on the spectrum, any parent of a child who has a child on the spectrum, they're going to either answer no or I don't know, I can't tell. She said that within the first 5 minutes of my son being in the room with her and being there with me and touching me and sitting on my lap and hugging me. My son is a very affectionate person. You know, he sits on my lap. Yes, he's 8 years old, but he shows his affection, and that's one thing I admire the most about him. He's very affectionate. He's very openly affectionate. He'll sit on my lap. He'll hold my hand. He'll say he loves me. He'll hug me all the time. So she said pretty much within the first 5 minutes of us being in the room, she could automatically tell that he was not autistic. He does have some social cues that he's missing, some social anxiety, some I guess you could say like he's socially awkward. He doesn't understand certain social cues and certain things. Like, let me give you an example. Like, for instance, right? He'll say something cute and I'm like, oh my gosh. And I start laughing. He's like, hey mom, can you please not laugh at me because that hurts my feelings. And it's not that you're laughing at him to make fun of him. You're laughing because you thought it was cute. Like, oh, you know, like you thought what he said was cute or funny. And he just thinks like you're laughing at him. He doesn't understand why you're laughing. So little things like that he doesn't pick up on. He doesn't understand sarcasm. If you're ever like sarcastic to him, he just takes it as like a jab or you making fun of him or something like that. So certain things like that he's very behind on. But he gets good grades. He's been keeping up with math. He's already at a third grade level at reading, and he's in second grade, so he's a grade ahead. But the comprehension part is the difficult part for him. So he can read a book that a second grader shouldn't be able to read, but he didn't understand or comprehend anything he just read. So that's one of the problems that he has. And he's really good at math, but he's not good at problem solving math. So there's certain things that they're working with in his class to, they pull him out and they pull him aside and they work with him one-on-one. So the only thing that kind of disappointed me about the diagnosis is that my son is not going to be able to be placed in the class that I wanted him to be in. There is an all autistic class and the teacher's name is Miss Bennett, and I think there's about 10 kids in there. So it's very small, it's very private. They get to do things at a certain time and at a certain pace and at their own pace. But he's not going to be eligible for that classroom because he's ADHD and he's not autistic. So that is a big downfall because my son is really being picked on. He's really getting bullied in his current situation in his classroom. The doctor said that she thinks it's a good idea that he stays in the second grade general population type of setting because that way he'll be able to learn from the other little kids instead of staying dormant and stagnant with the kids that are kind of keeping him behind. And I agree with her. It's just hard as a mother to see your kid always getting picked on and always getting bullied. He's such a good person. He's so handsome. It's just like you just want to protect your child. And when you can't, it's the most frustrating thing. So it has its downfalls and it has its good things about it too. She said that one of the good things about ADHD is 85% of entrepreneurs today have ADHD, like Steve Jobs and all the big entrepreneurs, because when they actually put their all in to do something, they give it just that, their all. It's like they almost become obsessed on it and they work 10 times harder than a normal person would. So that's really a good thing. He's just recently all of a sudden started loving basketball. So he's been like dribbling and practicing and going outside. We have like a basketball hoop and he plays basketball all the time, all of a sudden. So that is my news. That is my story time. That is my update. Is that my son is not autistic. He is ADHD. I am so happy. I'm so blessed. This is the problem is I get emotional. I can't think of the words. I'm relieved that I finally have an answer after like 6 years of wondering what's wrong with my son. And as a mother, not being able to help my son and not being able to know what's wrong with him or know what I can do to help him. I can't even tell you how frustrating that is. I love my son with every bone in my body, and when I can't be there to support him or help him because I don't know what's wrong with him, it's the most frustrating thing ever. So for me to have the answers that I've been looking for the past 6 years is the biggest relief ever. Like I can't even tell you. And I promised myself I wouldn't get emotional because there's got to be a point to where I stop. But every time I talk about it, it's just such a sore subject for me right now. And not that these are bad tears. It's just an emotional time for me because my whole life I've been waiting for this one answer. For this one answer, I've been waiting and working so hard for it. So to finally have the answer is kind of just like I can almost like breathe again. Like finally I can understand what's wrong with my son, and I can, you know, do my research and pinpoint what I need to do as a mother to try to help him and facilitate that. So, you know, anybody out there, if you guys know of any websites, if you guys know of any YouTube videos or links or books or anything, please don't go out of your way to look for them. But if you know of anything, or you have a loved one who has ADHD, or you know of any helpful tips or tricks, I am always down for those. I believe they're very helpful. I'm not a closed-minded person. I will try anything that helps work. You know, like I don't know what's going to work best for my son. So the only thing I can do is try to do trial and error with him. So if you guys know anything that has been helpful to you or someone you love, as far as books or links or videos, or, you know, if you yourself have a story that might be able to help me, please leave that in the comments below, because I'm always looking for new things to try to help him and work with him. Like I said, don't go out of your way. I will do my own research. I will do my own digging just to try to see how I can best help him. I am so happy, and I'm so happy that I could share this with you guys. And I'm so happy that you guys could truly understand like what I've been going through and how I've been feeling. Because I've been talking about this a lot on my channel, because I've been talking about this a lot in my life. This is a very big thing for me and my family. So now we can all chip in. We can all be supportive. We can all help him try to grow. You know, like the doctor said, it's kind of like, you know, you're going through life and you have two hands. But he's going to be going through life with one hand. Not that it's impossible. You just have to find a different way to do things. And that's what we're going to have to do with him. We're just going to have to find a different way to do things. But to know that my son is going to be able to live a happy, independent life is priceless. I'm telling you, I've always been worried about what his future is going to look like. You know, if people are going to be taking advantage of him, if he's going to know how to pay his own bills, if he's going to know how to live on his own. I've always worried about those things, even though he's 8 years old. That's what mothers do. We worry about our kids in the future, and it's not even here. So for me to know these answers, and for me to know that there's people out there with ADHD that live a perfectly happy, normal life, that gives me so much hope. So right now, what I'm going to do is all my digging, all my work, all my investigation, all my detective work to find everything and anything that can try to help my son through this and come out the other end better without trying medication. So the medication part, you know, he's come a long way. I don't feel like, and his doctor doesn't feel like, we need to put him on medication at this point, because it's really not affecting his life in any way. He's getting the help he needs. So I don't think medication is really needed. And I've heard really bad things about ADHD medication. Now I'm talking ignorance right now, because I do not know that much about the medication. It's just the things that I've heard were always like they're like they'll change your personality, and it can make them really numb, even more socially awkward sometimes. And again, I'm speaking out of ignorance because I don't know all these facts. I just found this out about him yesterday, so I'm just pretty much basing it off he said, she said type of thing. So I'm going to have to investigate. I'm going to have to do some digging. They do actually have, if we wanted to move forward with medication from him, they do have a test that they can do. It's like a DNA test that they can do to actually align you with the proper prescription that would work for you with the least side effects. And that would be the most effective medication for you. And that is not just for ADHD. That's for anything. So if you've ever, you know, had been trying multiple medications and nothing's been working for you, ask the doctor about that, because they can do a test that tells you exactly what milligram you should be on, how many times a day you should take it, what's the best prescription for you for side effects and everything. They can actually break it down to the milligram through your DNA. So if you didn't know about that, please ask your doctor about that, because it is something that they can do. And I'm not just talking about for ADHD, I'm talking about for any situation, whether it be depression, anxiety, any type of pill that you're going to be taking for a condition. They can break it down to your DNA to see what would best match up with your DNA, and that would be the best fit for you. And I only learned that like a couple years ago in dealing with my daughter and her situation. So that's a good thing, but we're still not going to really delve into the whole medication thing right now, just because I want to get a handle on it. I want to see if I can help him first as a mother and see how far we can get him. The school year is almost over. I have all summer to work with him. So I kind of just want to see how everything goes and then go from there. I don't just want to start off something not knowing about it and just putting him on a medication. So I'm going to do my research. I'm going to look into it. Like I said, if you guys have any information, any knowledge you would like to share with me, I would truly appreciate that. So just comment down below. Let me know. That is my story. That is my life update. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for all your love and support. And I will see you on my next one. Bye, guys.